Good morning. Thank you all for joining us. I'm Mayor Ralph Becker, and Chief Brown and I are going to be talking to you a bit today about some of the things that we have initiated in a long series of efforts we've been making around the depot area here and around homelessness. I'm going to keep my remarks quite short, and Chief Brown is going to speak as well in terms of specifically the law enforcement focus of the work that we're doing. The problem that we have here in the depot area is a regional issue. Many of the folks who come here to this area, in fact, most of the folks, do not live in Salt Lake City, and they come here to find either some help, or in many instances they come here, and much too often, they come here to pursue criminal activities. With our homeless friends, we have families that are experiencing crisis in their housing, and they are among, obviously, our most vulnerable residents in Salt Lake City. Unfortunately, they are also the greatest victims as they're preyed upon by those pursuing criminal activities. It's clear that as we work to solve the larger issues around homelessness, we have to start with the foundation of public safety for everybody who's here. Our message today, and this is an effort that we've initiated in the last couple of weeks, is that buyers and sellers who travel here to purchase drugs in this area, if you come here, you will go to jail. And this is an effort that has been, I'd say, desired and pursued with, at best, mixed results. But the level of enforcement, the approach to the deployment, and the approach we've set up throughout the system, we believe is going to make a change in the criminal activity associated with this area. So let me turn the time now over to Chief Brown, who's going to describe specifically the efforts that he's taking as the Chief of Police in Salt Lake City, but taking in conjunction with our regional partners.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, and good morning. I've been chief now for 48 days. But I bring to the table 24 years of experience. Over my career, a lot of my time has been spent down in this area from different assignments, from takedowns to narcotics. Up until recently, a year ago, I was over the bureau that actually worked down here and conducted the operations and the order maintenance down here. The one thing I want to point out today is that homelessness is not a police issue. It's a community issue. We want to work with the community to solve this problem, and that is why these folks are standing here with us today. These are the people who work, that live, that conduct business down here in this area, and with them, we hope to help improve the quality of life in this neighborhood. Sir Robert Peel said in 1829, "The police are the public and the public are the police," which means we're all in this together. And the answer is coming together to solve this problem. About 2 weeks ago, well, it took me more than 2 weeks, but about 3 or 4 weeks ago, I looked at this problem down here and I thought, what can we best do to bring some order maintenance to this area? And so I went back and we reorganized the police department. We reconstituted the 4 bike squads that were here up until the Metro began a year ago. And this is not to say that the Metro wasn't a good model. We took everything that the Metro had done, Deputy Chief Fred Ross and his staff, because they had pushed and raised that bar on the community outreach and social outreach programs, and we continue to do that. But we have taken a different look and a different approach to what we're going to do down here. So we have reconstituted those bike squads, which means they can now stay here. This is their beat. This is their turf to defend, so to speak. When there's a problem or an issue, they'll be responding. We've implemented a new telephone number Yeah, 801-799-DNTN, downtown. And so business owners, when it's not an emergency call or a 911, can call and get a bike officer to respond, someone who knows the area, someone who knows the problems. What we're trying to do is do an order maintenance type operation down here. And what I want to say here is a neighborhood where minor offenses go unchallenged soon becomes a breeding ground for more serious criminal activity and ultimately violence. I think that is what we've seen a little bit over the last year. And so this is why we're taking the new approach. Within this new bureau, a lot of times we're criticized that we've just moved the problem, and I understand that happens. But what we have now is we have resources that can chase that problem. So, as Councilmember Rogers mentioned, a lot of times the problem has moved to North Temple. Well, Deputy Chief Josh Sharman, standing right here, now has the resources to deploy to North Temple, or to State Street, or to the parks, or the Jordan River Parkway. And this is the model that we're going to use down here and throughout the city. Another benefit is we've been able to redeploy or put back into patrol approximately 30 officers. When I first took over as chief, I went and I sat in lineups and I listened to the officers talk. And I think it was very important for me to hear their comments, because what they were telling me was they were spending most of their time going all over the city, from Glendale to Sugar House to Rose Park to the avenues. They call it the star pattern. They were going all over the city just chasing calls and backlog. By putting these officers back into the neighborhoods or back into beats, they now have ownership for those different neighborhoods, and the calls for service or the backlog has decreased dramatically. And then last but not least, I want to thank the mayor and the council for supporting us with the council workers, or the social workers, because we all know that we cannot arrest our way out of this problem. We have tried for years and years and years. We make arrests, and a lot of times they are out of jail before we finish our paperwork. This brings one more level, or one more important part to the process down here. Now we can get people assessed and into programs, because education, treatment, and rehabilitation is much more effective and far less costly than putting people in jail. I think the important message we're trying to say today is from the mayor's office, from the council, from the Downtown Alliance, to Big D, from the service providers. We are all in this together, and together we will make a difference down here in this area. So thank you.
Chief, thank you. We've just come from a roundtable discussion that we've had with a number of the businesses and others who work and provide services in this area. And it was, again, we've had several of these types of discussions. It was a very healthy discussion. Folks are incredibly frustrated who try to do their business, who live down here, and who are here for legitimate purposes, whether it's because they're homeless or whether it's because they're visiting the area. You are going to see, as you have seen, but I think with this altered approach and some increased effort, you're going to see this continuing commitment by Salt Lake City and by our partners, publicly and privately, to address both the issues surrounding homelessness and the issues around the criminal activity that embed themselves in the homeless population. That effort will continue and continue to be increased until this problem is addressed. And we've made some progress in some areas. We've made, at best, minimal progress or even fallen back in some other areas. But our commitment from Salt Lake City is to continue to enhance and improve our efforts until we get ahead of the issues of both homelessness and the criminal activity in this area. So with that, happy, I think, for those of us, if you want to, maybe one-on-one, to answer some questions. But appreciate all of you coming today. And I think you will see that in the weeks that we've started, where we've already seen and talking to folks who work down here and live down here, You've been seeing a difference in the attention that's being given to this area. I think you'll see in the coming weeks and months that effort begin to pay dividends. Thank you all.